Nina Turner and Bakari Sellers. So Case Study QB captured this clip. Here we have Nina Turner and Bakari Sellers, and they were on CNN, and they're talking about the lack of enthusiasm between Black voters for the Democratic Party. And one of the issues that is brought up here is reparations for ADOS, for those who don't know, American descendants of slavery. But it's really interesting that it's coming from Nina Turner and Bakari Sellers, and I'm going to point out the reasons why in just a second. But I want you to listen to this clip. Thank you, Case Study QB, for this. Listen to what they say here.
Alabama Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville hit the stage at former President Trump's rally in Nevada last night. And, well, let's just roll the tape.
They want crime because they want to take over what you got. They want to control what you have. They want reparation because they think the people that do the crime are owed that. Bullshit. They are not owed that.
And just to be clear, they want reparation because they think that people that do the crime are owed that. There's no other way to read that sentence, and we've reached out several times to Tuberville's team. There's no other.
So they're talking about Tuberville and about the comments that he made about giving ADOS reparations. Obviously, I disagree with the comment that he made. But what is interesting about this conversation is that they're going to actually sit here and pretend like this is just an issue that is only on the conservative side. It's only on the right. Only people on the right feel that way. And that's bullshit. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. Listen to what they say.
Other way to read that other than Black people want reparations and they do the crime.
Is that what he means by they? When he keeps saying
exactly
they want that or they?
There's only one conversation about reparations, and it's for descendants
and crime. Tommy Tuberville can go to hell. And let me tell you why. The fact is, he made tens of millions of dollars off unpaid Black men as a football coach. He literally has the stature he has because people went out there and assumed the risk and incurred the risk of concussions, playing hard and everything. And then for him to give these racist tropes, I mean, it infuriates me. But this is a large swath of the Republican Party that they have to deal with that they've never done.
Yeah, I mean, the they just.
Okay, Bakari Sellers, let's talk about these tropes that you talked about. It's really interesting that's coming from Bakari Sellers. Okay. The same Bakari Sellers that's against BDS. The same Bakari Sellers that said he backs Israel. The same Bakari Sellers who started a pack with AIPAC against Rashida Tlaib so that she wouldn't win her re-election. And Rashida Tlaib just happens to be Palestinian. The same Bakari Sellers. How are you going to get on here on a conversation about reparations and you yourself are against BDS, which is a Palestinian-led movement, and you're going to come on here and talk about, oh, yeah, it's just great. The Republican Party, the conservatives, this is what it's coming to, and they haven't dealt with this. So here's the news flash, folks. For CNN, this conversation, for them to sit here and pretend like this is only a problem on the right, they are incorrect. There are Democrats that don't agree with reparations. There are leftists and progressives, fam, that don't agree with reparations. Look around. Go back to some of those old YouTube videos a couple of years ago when some of your favorite white left commentators told you they didn't agree with reparations. And they're supposed to be progressive. Bernie Sanders didn't support reparations even after Nina Turner told him to add it to his platform. So why are we going to sit here and pretend like it's only people on the right? Let's be real. That's what pisses me off about this conversation. Mr. I don't support BDS is going to talk about reparations. Get the fuck out of here.
Flat out, he's talking about Black people. He should man up and say it. American descendants of slaves do deserve reparations in this country. They absolutely do. But for him to equate a whole group of people as being criminal, you know what's criminal? Allowing people to languish in poverty, not supporting policies that will lift people up. That is what's criminal.
By the way, there's a way to talk about crime in this campaign. It's an important issue. A lot of people are worried about it.
But that happens in the Democratic Party too, Nina. The Democratic Party is just as complicit with poverty. The Democratic Party isn't trying to solve poverty either. In fact, when we talk about homelessness, when we talk about poverty, those issues have not been solved through policy. Those issues have not been solved regardless who I voted for president. Doesn't matter what party it is. It hasn't been solved. It hasn't been fixed. This is interesting.
This ain't it.
Well,
Right. Objectively speaking, we do have
blacks are also overwhelmingly
we have
victims of crime.
And
Right.
people across the political spectrum are worried about it.
Sure.
And so there's a way to discuss issues that are very serious. And the same
But
thing-
it's
There's a way to
his
talk
true
about
nature came out.
being upset with the police department without and saying, listen, we can't defund
Sure.
police. We can't. There's a way to talk about it. And again, it's just when somebody shows you who they are, you have to
believe. But I mean, we have
them.
to.
And it's
When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Yes. Look at all the people on this panel. What is happening here?
It's unfortunate that we're sitting here table in America today and we're having this conversation.
But I wish we were having a conversation about early childhood education. I wish we were having a conversation that the reason that a lot of kids don't perform in school is the fact they go to school hungry. How do we make sure community policing is something that we all embrace? Like my
Bakari, you were a congressman. Why are you asking us? Weren't you in Congress, Bakari? These were the same questions we were asking, and I lived in South Carolina. I went to college in South Carolina. That's how I lived there. These are the same questions we were asking you. What are you talking about? I can't. This is why it's laughable to me.
We're having this conversation.
But I wish we were having a conversation about early childhood education. I wish we were having a conversation that the reason that a lot of kids don't perform in school is the fact they go to school hungry. How do we make sure community policing is something that we all embrace? Like my mama and daddy don't want to defund the police, but what they do want to do is have good police. They want to have respectable conversations in the community. They want to make sure that we undergird our community with the resources necessary so that we can drink clean water like in Jackson, Mississippi, so that you don't have inflation and poverty. And those are the conversations about crime we should have, not Tommy Tuberville being the racist that he is.
Yeah.
They all just go along with it and go, yeah. What are you talking about, Bakari? You take corporate money, don't you? Don't you? You take corporate money? You care that much about poverty in your community? Why are you taking donations from people who are complicit with it? There's another clip to this conversation because I'm going to show you. This is why I say there's no. And then we'll go back to that campaign site because I got to show you something there too. They go on to talk about Democratic Party and people blaming black men. See, now they're trying to blame black men for the reason why if Democrats lose. Now, shout out to Case Study QB for this clip too. Same panel. Listen to this discussion.
Just as a voter, I can tell you I am very concerned at the lack of enthusiasm in our state right now. I don't feel and see the enthusiasm that I think voters across Georgia should have right now. And I know that oftentimes in midterm elections, people don't turn out to vote. I hope that won't be the case this year in Georgia.
She's talking about Democratic voters, to be clear.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think she's sounding the
That's the mayor of Atlanta, for those who are wondering.
alarm, just as many people have been doing, but it ain't just Atlanta. I mean, it's Philadelphia in the race in Pennsylvania. It's Cleveland in the race with Tim Ryan and J.D. Vance. It's Orlando and Miami in Val Demings' race. And so Democrats have to do a better job, particularly, and I can't wait for my phone to blow up after I say this, but particularly with black men. You just can't come to black men after Labor Day and say, come vote for us every 2 years. There has to be a more direct, engaged approach with black male voters who, by all intents and purposes, after African-American women, are the second largest turnout base. And that's just something that we haven't done. forever, and it drives me crazy. So
Give me your black vote. Come vote for me, black people. You see that? You see what's happening, right? Democratic Party has to do a better job with engaging in black voters to getting them to come out and vote. You're against BDS. This makes no sense to me. It really makes no sense. Engaging black voters. Bakari Sellers smeared Bernie Sanders' campaigns. You guys know that? Which Nina Turner was a part of. Why is she still in cahoots with Bakari Sellers? Because he was a part of her campaign as well. Bakari Sellers smeared Bernie Sanders' campaign. Now he's telling you that Democrats need to do a better job with appealing to black voters. And yet you wanted black people to vote for Joe Biden over Bernie Sanders. Bakari, you wanted them to vote for the man who co-wrote the crime bill. What are you talking about? Instead of voting for the man that wanted to give everybody health care, instead of voting for the man that wanted to cancel student loan debt, which it primarily affects a lot of black women. He's saying black this, black that. I'm throwing it all out there. You wanted them to vote for Joe Biden with all the harm that he did to the black community. Sitting here looking like a clown.
You're in Ohio, tell us.
I am, and I'm amen in what Bakari is saying. I mean, the Democratic Party often leaves out the whole swath of black men. And black men matter too, their votes matter, and they are very much an integral part of the success.
I'm sorry if for black men who are watching this, I'm gonna let you know right now, they coming for you next. See, they came for black women last time. So they figure they already got us on lock. Because black women came out and heavily supported Joe Biden in 2020. So they coming for you now. Don't fall for this shit. Don't fall for it. You need to ask them what they're going to do for you, what they're going to give you. I tell you, man.
Of the Democratic Party. And so Bottoms is absolutely right. The enthusiasm gap is there, and we got to do a better job.
We got to do a better job. Did you hear what Nina Turner just said? I told you they're all just Democrats. It doesn't matter if they run as a progressive or not. Listen.
Party. And so Bottoms is absolutely right. The enthusiasm gap is there, and we got to do a better job.
We got to do a better job. The Democrats. They're both Democrats. There's literally now, when you look at it, what is the difference between the progressives in Congress and the corporate Democrats, other than the fact that the progressives ran grassroots campaigns? Other than that, what's the difference between them? I showed you the way they vote. I showed you their voting record. You see that much of a difference? No.
Of course the enthusiasm isn't there. I mean, who wants to get up and say, okay, let me go and fill up my car with gas and try and get here? Or who is going to say my paycheck is not matching all of the things I have to buy? The enthusiasm, of course, is not there.
But gas has dropped for 14 weeks in a row, and we just had the president of the United States just take action on marijuana, which we're very excited that he took, and we're examining rescheduling. I think the disconnect, though, is the sustained approach over time and the direct messaging and communication to these groups, which is what Nina and I are.
They always try to blame it on the communication. It's not about the communication. It's about the fact that the Democratic Party hasn't done shit for black people my entire life. You've done nothing. That's what it's about. And Bakari Sellers knows that. They kill me. Now, what was interesting to me, they brought up this reparation conversation, right? And they said, well, you know, need to have reparations. And Nina Turner has been tweeting about black people need to have reparations. So I decided to go back to Nina Turner's campaign site because I was curious, did she have that as a part of her platform when she was running for Congress? And it doesn't look like she did. If you go to the issues, here were the issues from her platform. And so I checked all of these. 21st Century Economic Bill of Rights. It's not there. I went through all of them. There's Medicare for all, there's expanded public education, reimagining public safety, environmental justice, there's pandemic recovery. I said, maybe it's under economic justice. Let me check there. It's not there. So, what? Because my thing is this, if you stand by that and you believe in that and you want reparations, you ran for Congress 2 times in a row. Why didn't you have reparations as a part of your platform when you were running for office? I'll tell you why. Because she knew that if she put that on her platform, that she would alienate some of the voters in her community. The same reason why she did not want to support BDS, the same reason why she came out and said, I had to win over the Jewish voters in the community. So again, once again, they are willing to sell out people who are working class, people who are poor, and hell, God damn it, even black people. Even the black politicians are willing to sell out black people just so they can win. So if you cared that much about reparations, why was it not a part of your platform? Get out of here. Don't come at me with that. I know better. I know better. I couldn't believe it. Can't believe this mess.